Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Sean Payton, they got a win this weekend against the Jets. Do you feel like, look, Kamara was back obviously, but do you feel like you learned anything about the Saints going up to New York and getting a win this weekend?
To me, I think you can find something good and something not to like in every game. We talked last week, and I said the Saints should win. They're facing a quarterback who I think has got a tremendous IQ. Zach Wilson's got all the ability, but you can tell he's floundering around accuracy-wise, and the mental and physical aren't in sync right now. He can throw it, and he'll make some spectacular plays. Then he'll miss a ball in the flat where you say, well, especially if you're a New Orleans fan, that Drew Brees has made, with 4 blindfolds on for year after year after year. So you're not used to seeing inaccuracy. But to me, what I did learn is that we know how valuable Kamara is, which you and I have discussed this year.
Yeah.
How important it is, and we knew their defense would put it on. At least I thought they would with the Jets, and I'm sure you did too, Matt. But how 40-plus, almost 45, 44 rushes, dominating the line of scrimmage. You knew if you didn't let them go haywire with some big plays and chunk plays or turn the ball over and give them the short field, that the Jets were not going to move the ball very well. And so defense has been their staple all year. It's going to have to play like that against better offenses. But this team goes. Taysom did a nice job, accurate. Didn't throw touch. The ball wasn't got a lot of big plays, but enough. 15 of 21, I believe, if my memory serves me from the weekend. And efficient, and Kamara doing his thing, controlling clock, shortening the game, relying on defense, getting after quarterbacks, forcing errant throws. And when you do that, that's how the Saints are going to win. Matt, it's not going to be pretty as what we're used to in the past, but for them to get to the playoffs and try to make some kind of disruption along the way, it's not going to be as easy as it was against the Jets. Mm-hmm. But what I learned about them is we know this team goes not how the quarterback carries it this year, but how the defense and Alvin Kamara play. Just having Kamara on the field, let alone the production, opens up a lot of different things. And we saw what it did, and Taysom protected the ball. And when you do that, you got a chance, especially with their defense. I was impressed, even though it was the Jets. I'm always impressed because I know how tough it is to win in the league each week.
And it's amazing. You mentioned playoffs. And it's a good segue, Sean, because we had this conversation when they were winning with Jameis, and then they go on this 5-game losing streak, and it felt like that was out the window. But I'll be damned, we look up, man, at the playoff standings, and the Saints are at 6-7, tied with 4 other teams, including Washington, which is currently in the 7th spot. So walk me through, from your perspective, when you look at the rest of the NFC playoff picture with Washington, the Vikings, the Eagles, the Atlanta, and New Orleans, how realistic of a possibility is this that New Orleans could end up atop those 5?
Very realistic. Because tell me one thing with Atlanta and Minnesota, and put it this way, everybody has a weakness and everybody at some point during the year we've looked at and said, this is not a playoff team. And then they all have, you can go through it, the big playability and knowing that Matt Ryan's been in the league a while. And I think actually Arthur Smith, considering with Ridley out, that he has done a pretty nice job. We know what the offense is capable of with Kirk Cousins, but we also know at times they have trouble putting your foot on the throat. We know what the let's see, who else am I leaving out?
Eagles?
Atlanta, the Eagles. I know that they can win. I don't think I trust their playmakers enough. So, but they're gritty and they'll go, and with a rookie head coach, I don't believe they're a playoff team. I would have, of those, at least between the Vikings and the Saints, I would put the Eagles down a little bit, even though, because I think Washington's playing decent football. I think the Cowboys, the Giants will hang around sometimes. I don't believe the Eagles are a playoff team. I just don't. And the same of all the strengths and the weaknesses, I look at the teams that are involved in this, is the biggest strengths for the top 2 teams. So let's see. Let me make sure I got Atlanta, Minnesota, the Saints, the Eagles, and who did I leave out?
Washington, who's presently in the 7th seed, honestly.
That's the other one. To me, Atlanta's going to have to be extra special, and I don't know if they're capable of it because I don't trust them on a consistent basis running it, and I'm not sure their defense will get enough stops. Philadelphia, the whole thing, to me, one week I look at him, I say it's the playoff team. The next week I look at him and say, this is the Philadelphia Eagles. I know what
Right.
Cousins is, but the top three teams, you've got an energetic quarterback in Washington and a front seven that can get after you when they're doing it right, and they can be nasty. You've got a Vikings team that when everybody's healthy and Dalvin Cook's on the field and Cousins protects the ball, which he's done a pretty damn good job of most of the season, but the question still arises, how many times – the last time Cousins actually did something in January was against you guys when he hit Adam Thielen down the seam for the big play.
Yeah.
People wondered if he could make that throw in January, trying to get him to February. But they do have playmakers with Thielen and Jefferson, so that's a loaded team, but something's always missing from them, whether it's they make a stupid mistake and miss a field goal. They allow a team back into it. They don't close one week. So the strengths of them all, we know Cousins puts up numbers, Dalvin Cook in the receiving core in Minnesota, the defense and Alvin Kamara, and if you can get some sort of passing game from Taysom Hill, and then with Washington, it's the up and down offensively, a very energetic quarterback that's capable of a big day, but also can throw it to you and do something silly with the football, but they're front seven. So to me, the biggest strengths of the five teams in it reside in those three, Minnesota, the Saints, and Washington. And Washington will hang around because that's not a great division, but all those teams are kind of and the Cowboys aren't playing their best football. They're still going to win the division. So why not the Saints? It's going to be a huge game when they get Tampa again. But other than, with Carolina and Atlanta in the division, do they play Atlanta one more time, Matty? They got them one more
so
time.
I was gonna go through this with you because they got Tampa this week and they're a big underdog on the road, but then they have Miami at home, Carolina at home, and they're at Atlanta.
See, to me, they're 3-1. The game Miami at home can be a little dangerous because their defense, they're flying around a little bit. They believe in Brian Flores, and Tua is actually playing pretty solid, not spectacular, but pretty damn good football. And that argument over that, I can't even remember who it was that threw it, Sims throwing out that Tua is a worse quarterback than Taysom Hill. Well, that'll be fun to watch because we'll get a chance to see it, right, in the building. But defense, so I do. Now, the Saints aren't capable if they go out there and their offense isn't clicking and you put your defense in a bind and give guys like Brady or Matt Ryan. Listen, Matt Ryan's still a guy who's got Hall of Fame numbers. He's been in the Super Bowl, so capable. But I think the Saints, and this isn't just because I'm on your show, I think that the strength of Kamara and the Saints defense when they're healthy and right, and we see them lock teams down, they're going to have to get some help in the passing game from their own team. The trust of the Vikings fluctuates by the week. And with the Washington football team, I think defensively they can get after you, but offensively I don't trust them to be explosive on a weekly basis. So considering veterans and when they're healthy, you have to say the Saints have as good a chance as any, especially since 3 of the games are division games, so they can control exactly where they're going if they take care of their business. They go 3-1, they're getting in.
Do you think they look? We know what they're up against this week going to Tampa.
Right.
Let me not ask, can they win? Of course, it's the NFL, and you can win on a given Sunday. But what type of game would have to transpire for New Orleans to go pull that upset?
Remember when Brady was in New England and he'd go down to South Florida once a year and he'd struggle at times? That feeling of like 13-26 or 25 and a pick or two, a tip ball, where it almost looked like they weren't into it. That would have to happen. But here's the problem. Late in the season, this is Tampa. And I guarantee this week of practice has been rough on them because even though they won, Bruce Arians will let them know that he didn't like the way that they played, not only offensively until that, the last drive, but the way defensively and the things that they did to allow Buffalo to get back into it. So in winning, even though that's a time where you could get fat and happy, they've got enough veterans, but Bruce Arians will keep them humble because it was a win. But that's one of those when you're done playing, you're like, gosh dang, you go out to dinner that night and you're like, man, you watch the film the next day. Great, we'll take the win any way we can get it. But damn, we allowed a team to jump back into it. So in order for them to win, a little bit of out-of-body experience, you're going to have to, and I mentioned shorten the game, but you are. Yeah. Kamara would touch the ball 35 times this week. I know that sounds crazy, catching, throwing, and then you're going to have to do everything you can not to let Tom get comfortable because their weapons are getting healthy. This is always his time of year. When they go through it, people say, well, are they the same team as Tom? And this is where they go on one of those rolls where they just barrel roll a bunch of teams. So, listen, defense going to have to play great, and the offense going to have to protect the football and do some things that maybe hit a home run, maybe block a punt. Special teams get involved in this with a couple field flippers. If they both line up and go back and are on the field and both teams are at their best, I think we know with the explosiveness on offense and how many mismatches can the Patriots' offensive receiving core create with the defense, and what will Dennis do to Tom? Is he going to play zone? Is he going to go multiple? Is he going to say make him throw the check down or the crosser, which Tom loves to do? So he's willing to be patient. The question is, defensively, are you? Obviously, they should be underdogs. They can win the game, but they'll have to play their best game of the year to go on the road and win this game.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.